6 rappers who owed the IRS millions. When we think of prominent rappers today, what comes to mind? Rolexes, diamond chains, exotic vehicles, large entourages, obsessive and obnoxious fans who follow the artist's every move, big egos, and of course, money phone flexes. And while this can garner attention from fans and help sell your music, it also garners attention from people who don't want to be investigating you, Uncle Sam, more specifically the IRS. I mean, we always see the cases of rappers like 6ix9ine and Bobby Shmurda who get targeted by the FBI, but that's not the only 3-letter group that rappers need to be worried about. Most rappers have good accountants and are able to avoid any trouble with the IRS, but a lot of other hip-hop acts aren't so lucky. This list of rappers who owed the IRS tons of money goes on and on. And with that said, please pay your taxes, ladies and gentlemen, because Uncle Sam is always going to make sure he gets his. Before we start this video, make sure you click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now, here's 6 rappers who have owed the IRS millions of dollars. At the top of the list, at number 6, there's Offset. In 2017, the Georgia Department of Revenue started contacting Offset about a $140,000 tax bill that he owed to the state. But they must not have had the right phone number or mailing address because that bill went unpaid for quite a while. It's also possible that they had him confused with Takeoff or Quavo. Either way, it wasn't until 2 years later that they had had enough and decided to put a lien on the mansion that him and Cardi B purchased together. By that time, his debt had accrued interest and fees, which brought the total amount up to $210,000. If he didn't pay up, they would have to move forward and start seizing assets. But it looks like he did in fact finally pay. We never saw any of his cars get towed or houses get foreclosed, luckily. With a guy like Offset who's worth a reported $20 million, this was most likely an honest mistake, and he probably didn't realize until the lien was put on his home. It's safe to say that Cardi B probably wasn't too happy about that. This could be part of the reason why she recently filed for divorce from him, as we never heard about Cardi owing any money to the IRS. But luckily for him, compared to the rest of the people on this list, Offset's ordeal with the Georgia Department of Revenue is peanuts. Number 5, Tyga. Besides being known for dating Kylie Jenner, signing to Cash Money, and having a surprising amount of hit songs, Tyga is known for being pretty horrible with handling money. He's gotten evicted and sued for unpaid rent, sued for not paying his jeweler, and has even had multiple expensive vehicles towed. In one incident, he had his Ferrari towed while he was out and about with Kylie. It's pretty embarrassing. Besides these obvious cases of having bad money management, as well as signing a horrible 360 deal with Birdman, Tyga seemingly forgot to pay the IRS, which is not surprising as it seems like he was dealing with a lot. Documents filed in 2018 revealed that he didn't pay any California state taxes from the years 2011 to 2016, meaning that he had an unpaid balance of $890,000. These are coincidentally the years that he was allegedly romantically involved with Kylie Jenner, having first met in 2011. So could Kylie be to blame for all of this happening? I don't know. But he did end up working something out, most likely a payment plan with the state of California, and thank God he was able to release a few hit songs in 2018, or else he might have been filing for bankruptcy like 50 Cent. Number 4, Ja Rule. Ja Rule is another name on this list that has a painfully long history of money management issues and tax evasion. I'm sure most of you watching this video remember the fraudulent Fyre Festival that took place, where a festival was announced and hyped up, but was amateurishly executed, resulting in thousands of people being stranded on an island, eating lettuce sandwiches. The attempted scam landed Ja Rule and his partner in crime, Billy McFarland, with a $100 million lawsuit. However, Ja was later dismissed from the lawsuit by the judge in July of 2019. With that being said, the past few years haven't been so kind to the I'm Real rapper. While the late 90s and early 2000s were filled with infectious hits from Ja, the fame and recognition didn't last very long, and neither did the money. I mean, talk about kicking a man while he's down. In 2019, he was hit with 2 separate tax liens, tallying up to a total of $2 million. Reason being is that he apparently failed to pay federal taxes for a whole 11 years, between 2004 and 2015. This is after he did 2 years in prison for tax evasion and gun charges in 2011, agreeing to pay back the taxes he owed once he served his time. My guess is that while dealing with the Fyre Festival and having to hire lawyers, Ja just didn't have the money to pay his taxes, so the IRS had to hit him with those liens. Number 3. T.I. The Atlanta native is known for his hit records, his impeccable ear for beats and young talent, being a surprisingly good actor, and his business acumen. T.I. is one of those rappers who have had a little more success than the majority of the pack when it comes to rappers turned businessmen. His net worth is estimated at $50 million. For a guy who's owned restaurants, real estate, record labels, invested in tech companies, and started his own clubs, you would think that he would recognize the importance of paying his dues to the IRS. Well, you'd be wrong. The self-proclaimed King of the South failed to pay $1.4 million in taxes in the year of 2012, and $3.1 million for the following tax year. With interest accumulating, the IRS filed a lien against him totaling $6.2 million. That's an ungodly amount. Instead of opting to just pay up, T.I. contested it and decided to take matters to court, proclaiming that he didn't really owe such a hefty amount. The judge threw his case out, and the IRS began to seize his and his wife's assets, as they owned several millions worth of cars and real estate. It was only then that they realized it was time to get this over with, and they dropped $1 million on the tax bill, still having another $5 million to pay up down the road. But making that payment put a stop to the Alphabet Boys seizing any more of their assets. And hey, T.I., if you're watching this, at least you made enough cash to have a $6 million tax bill. I mean, those are the kind of problems that I want. Well, actually, maybe not. Number 2. Rick Ross. Rick Ross seems like a guy that stays on top of his business, but the IRS will tell you a completely different story. In late 2016, it was reported that Ross owed $5.7 million in unpaid taxes for just the year of 2012. So if you're thinking what I'm thinking, that's a lot of money for 1 year, and Ross would agree. He responded to the reports by chalking up the debt to an incorrect filing. He went further by saying the filing mishap was due to the negligence of the accountant he had worked with in the past, and that he had a new team of accountants. He even took to Twitter to assure his fans that he was a lawful, tax-paying citizen and is working as quickly as possible to resolve the issue with the IRS. This all took place not too long after Ross had purchased Evander Holyfield's Georgia mansion, which has 109 rooms and the biggest swimming pool in all of Georgia. He reportedly paid $5.8 million for the mansion. And don't call me a conspiracy theorist, but that's basically the same amount the IRS said he owed them. You would think after dropping that much money in cash on a mansion, there would be no way that he could pay his tax bill, but he did. After a back and forth with the IRS, he got the bill lowered and dropped to $4.6 million to clear it completely. One thing's for sure, if Ross owes you some money, he'll pay you back. But there's a reason he's been very successful in both music and business. And at number 1, we have Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne came into money at a very young age. He signed to Birdman and started making significant amounts of money when he was just 16 years old. And while he had a head start on making money, he didn't have a head start on learning about managing it. We all know that Wayne signed a predatory deal with Birdman and Cash Money. That ended up in a drawn-out court battle, putting a strain on Wayne and Baby's relationship. And during this time, Wayne was dishing out hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers for years. As a result, his tax bills were going unpaid. But Wayne actually knew he owed the IRS since 2011, when it came out that he failed to pay $7.3 million in taxes for the year of 2011 and $6.8 million for the year of 2012. He clearly had the money to pay his taxes during those years, as 2011 is when he copped his Bugatti, but maybe he had been to the Mayan calendar and thought that doomsday was real and taxes weren't gonna matter. Whatever his reasons were, Wayne decided to buy a Bugatti instead of pay his taxes. It wasn't until 2019, 7 years later, that he finally paid the $14 million tax bill. And mind you, this was after he received an 8-figure settlement from his lawsuit with Cash Money. Despite cashing in over $10 million from that lawsuit, he still didn't have enough liquid cash to pay the bill in full and get the IRS off his back. Luckily, Jay-Z came to save the day and gave Wayne what had to be several $million. That way he had enough to pay the full $14 million and get rid of this dark cloud over his head. Knowing Jay-Z, he probably didn't want Wayne to pay him back, even though he probably could now since he released a few albums and gone on tour. I guess the moral of the story is, if you have the chance, make some friends who can help you pay off your $1 million tax bill. I don't know. But I do know that I am glad that I never saw Wayne get any of his cars towed or houses foreclosed on, unlike Birdman. So were you surprised to see any of the rappers on this list owing that much money to the IRS? Did you learn anything from this video? Let me know in the comments section. And before you leave, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to our channel.